mistake. 30 million people saw you hit a bad note and, you know, Mr. Step. So it wasn't that, stop the tape, let's do it again. It was like, you got to keep stepping, bro. That's it, you know. So that added pressure. But
what did that do for your career, that appearance?
Oh, it was so synchronized with the point of whenever we had a release, Motown and Ed Sullivan had such a good rapport that we could go in there and debut our hits. So it would just instantly shoot our single right on into the chart. So it was very good.
I understand that one of the things that Motown really pioneered was the exploitation of television appearances, that they had an artist development department that would work up specific routines for specific shows. And if they had like a 7-minute slot, they would try and work up a 9-minute routine and make it so dazzling that they would get that extra 2 minutes.
And Otis is agreeing with you. He says, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was very scientifically done. I must give credit to Charlie Atkins and Lon Fontaine and Harvey Fuqua because whenever you were in Detroit and had time off, you spent at least 4 to 5 hours in artist development. And like Mary said earlier, they would instill in us about being in show business, not for the point of just having a hit record, but being in it for your life if you wanted to make it such.
Earlier, Mary, Otis was talking about being on the bus. I guess you'd all pile on buses and go down into like the South, the deep South, and entertain when you used to tell little Stevie Wonder to stop playing so much on the harmonica. How were you treated?
Well, you know what, I must say that getting back to this gentleman, and then we'll lead into that, I got my most ultimate feeling just hearing Bye Bye Baby on the radio, my very first record. I don't think I'll never feel that feeling again.
Where were you? Were you in the car or were you in the house?
No, I was at home. I mean, here you got a little ghetto girl with a working mother, no father in the house, and I mean, poor as poor can get. And all of a sudden, I'm on the radio. I thought this was the most, I can't describe the feeling.
Every recording artist says the same
thing. And the
thing.
record stayed playing in Detroit for 1.5 years, because see, I didn't know at the time we were a small label. I was the only artist on Motown for about 1.5 years. The other label was Tamlin. It was
you were the first artist signed on Motown, is that correct?
And I was the only one on there for 1.5 years. So I thought that I was on a little rinky-dink label, because Tamlin was the label. You know, nobody heard of Motown. I was so disappointed. Say, well, you're going to be signed to Motown. And I'm saying, like, Motown? I want to be on Tamla, not Motown. There's nobody on Motown. You know? So
you are Motown.
Yeah. So after 1.5 years, the company was so huge, and I mean, each record, I was just, be honest with you, I'm fascinated. The tours that we went on, okay, I coming from the North, I had no idea about the, I knew what was somewhat going on in the South, but I mean, we had black hotels. I guess I didn't even know they were black or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
We just went in, well, when I said when we went down there, because I'm going to be honest with you, we were a bunch of kids. Everybody in the bus would cover the whole hotel. So I didn't know we had covered the whole hotel. It was just nobody in the hotel but us kids at Motown. And we would be in there and we would go and perform and come back and we would enjoy ourselves. This is the way I looked at it. We would be down in the lobby. We had the whole lobby. You know, any hotel that you got the whole lobby.
We were at another hotel where we had to go on the other side of town, and we had to stay in that in the black section. And
well, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean,
oh,
to be
it was
honest,
all right, but it's better now
know.
where people can live where they want.
Well,
to.
See,
So
I enjoy the hotels. Now, don't get me wrong, they're gorgeous, but I'm just saying that I kind of enjoyed. Okay, you see a bunch of kids. We worked together, we played together, we sung together. And here you are with your record player down in the lobby. And I'm going to tell you, I haven't found nothing more enjoyable. And you're down there, and the people come in and say, who's these kids? They be saying, oh, those are the Motown kids. And we're down there playing music. Then we'll ease over to each other's rooms because we have chaperones.
But do you ever remember in the theaters, I mean, the camaraderie had to be incredible. When you were actually performing, do you ever remember the audiences being divided in half, white on one side, black on the other?
Now, that I didn't like.
Did a lot of white people come to hear your music? Did they?
Say that again.
Did a lot of white people come to hear your music?
Yeah.
That was Motown's really major contribution, was that they took black music to the white mainstream for the first time.
The only thing that was so confusing is that when you're singing, okay, you got the whites up here, or either the blacks up here and the whites down here, whatever, and you're singing and you're like, I would like to sing to all of y'all. Can y'all all kind of mix up in there together? You know what I mean? It's not like, I don't want to give no more to this one than this one, and it's like, hey, look at us up here, look at us. Won't y'all just mix in, you know what I mean? So it's just be like a mixed color and we can just sing to all of y'all.
Well, we've got a great question about one of your top tunes. Right after this, we'll take a commercial break and come right back. Yvette.
Hi. I'd like to know what's the story behind Papa Was a Rolling Stone?
Oh, Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Very interesting. We did not want to record that record.
Why not?
Well, see, at the time, we felt as though we had exhausted the thing of those kind of songs. We wanted to get back to the Please Returns, the My Girl, Since I Lost. And Norman was really entrenched into that psychedelic mode of thinking. And we had a very heated verbal confrontation in the control room. So whenever I listen at Papa Was a Rolling Stone nowadays, I can still see Dennis singing the first few lines, gritting his teeth, like, I really don't want to be here.
In other words, you recorded it and you did not want to record it.
So let's take a listen to it and hear if we can hear your
consternation.
Your consternation is a good word. Yeah. Papa Was a Rolling Stone.
It sounded good.
I think I heard it.
Helped the record sell because, it went over $1 million and we won 2 Grammys off of that. But, it just shows you can never tell what will and will not be a hit because we were flying in from Hawaii, coming into Philly to attend the disc jockey convention. And every suite that I would go in concerning every major recording company, CBS, Warner Brothers, Polydor, they were playing Papa. And so when I would come back to the Motown suite, I said, oh, I can't believe this. All these other companies that, had hits, they were playing Papa. So next thing you know, we were on winning a Grammy for it and over $1 million.
Steve.
Yeah, mine's I kind of got a memory for you. Remember the old cars of the 50s, and all they had was that radio, the big speaker right under the window and the big dials, and boy, we could make a real good feeling in our car on our way to the river on a hot summer day, or being by the pool and playing the jukebox, or even just coming back and getting some eat and run hamburgers. Boy, that was, it was the music.
Yeah. I think that Motown actually spent some time on their studio technology to make those records sound especially good through those speakers you're talking about, the car radio speakers.
We did.
I think that they worked out to make sure that the record sounded best on car radios and jukeboxes and not worried too much about home stereos.
Well, they had a department called Quality Control. In fact, Richard Street, who sings with us now, that was his job. His job was, when you would come into Richard's office, he would have speakers here, and he would have a very small speaker, whereas he would monitor to make sure it would come across on the radio the same kind of quality, because that's what they would judge by, because that would be what you would hear.
Did they tell you what to wear?
For stage wear?
For your stage wear, because some of those costumes are just
Eddie
out of this
Kendricks
world.
was in charge of the Temptations wardrobe, so he worked in conjunction with Charlie Atkins and Maurice when we started to do the sophisticated rooms like the Copacabana.
Did you love wearing all those?
Oh, yes. I'm a clothes horse at heart anyway. It was, like I said in the book, when we first played, one of the few times that we played the Apollo, when we first went in there, used to be a guy by the name of Dave from F&F. So he came by and he showed Eddie some swatches, and it was all kind of different colors, and there was a purple one on there. So Eddie said, that's the one. That's the way to Eddie. Eddie, I'm a little too dark for all that purple, bro. And he said, no, trust me, Otis, it'll work. So when the suits were made up and we had the white accessories, and when they opened up the curtain and we were standing there at the Apollo, the whole place just went wild. And they were talking about the suits, the purple suits. So that started being part of our style for our splashy colors.
I have a memory for you. I was born in Detroit, raised in Philadelphia, and growing up listening to your music, I was too young to go on American Bandstand with Dick Clark, so we had a clothes hamper that had a handle on it, so I would listen to the show and dance to your music. And I didn't have a partner, so that was my partner, was the clothes hamper.
The clothes hamper.
She's probably a fabulous dancer today.
Oh, she is.
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to ask either one of you, would you make a comparison or explain the music in Motown then? It was more melodic than the music now. Could you compare it with the rap type? Do you think it'll ever get back to be a little bit more exciting for everybody?
That's a good question, because I've been on this book tour for like 2.5 to almost 3 weeks, and just about every city that I've gone, and they've asked me that. And in my opinion, there is a void that is missing, because at the time Motown was coming along, Barry would stress the thing of great lyrical content, song structure, and melodies that would linger on in the mind even after it's off the radio. Nowadays, I think in part because of the technology, guys can go in there now. They don't even have to call any sidemen. They get those computers to working, and they just start putting something to 120 beats a minute, and they're not really thinking in the sense of trying to come up with songs of substance. And I think by and large, that's why you still, like I was watching the Olympics in American Express, they were playing My Girl. So when you have songs that really have that value and people can relate to it, it lasts, and we don't have that now.
We'll be back with more after this. Bill.
Otis, you all had a big influence on all the music afterwards. What influenced you?
I'm still influenced by guys like Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie, the guy that wrote Patty's latest hit with Michael McDonald, Burt Bacharach, Luther Vandross, Take Six, a new group out of Detroit. Some of Prince's things, I think Prince tend to get a little too abstract, but there are some things.
How about though back in the 50s, the Billy Ecksteins, the Ella Fitzgerald,
Yes.
What about Little Richard?
Oh yeah, Little Richard, Nat King Cole.
Well, don't you laugh.
Oh, no, but you're right. I mean, at that time...
Elvis?
Elvis, yeah, I like some of Elvis's things. Who else? Nat King Cole.
You certainly influenced a lot of the English performers.
Yeah. When we go over there, it's like we have a new hit, and the hit might be 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah. Renee.
I wanted to ask Mary, as far as, it sounds like I'm getting a input here that women in the entertainment industry, any advice for anyone coming up in the industry now as far as politics? It sounds like women do they still have the couch interview, should I say?
Well,
sounds like...
Probably so. Yeah, they probably do. I don't think all of them do, but, and it's a shame. It's really a shame because women have a lot going for them. I mean, after all, we are the mothers of the male as well as the female. And
do you have
I know at
tips for
Motown
anyone coming up now?
Say that again.
Any tips for anyone coming up now?
Well, I think that basically you have to follow your own path. I mean, in other words, you got the talent. If you feel like you got the talent, when you have it, and you got something to offer the business, you go after it. And to whatever degree you have to get over. And once you get over, you basically people can see exactly what you've done, what you can do. And it's up to you as a person.
And hopefully women are being treated with greater respect today.
I think they are.
And I think they go into situations with a lot more self-esteem and confidence than maybe. Joseph.
Okay, my question is to Otis. Why was David Ruffin fired from the Temptations?
Well, you see, when we first started out, we made a vow that we would not change, because we had heard about Frankie Lyman leaving the Teenagers and Tony Williams leaving the Platters, so we made a vow. But it's one thing to hold true to that vow once, you start to make huge amounts of money and doors open up to you that once would never. And, you're getting all kind of adulation. And success can act as a very strong aphrodisiac, and when you are a group, you have to move and think as one unit. You cannot have 5 guys going, 5 different directions. So it started to become a...
Were you kind of the godfather of the group? You were the one, because you were the founder. I mean, were you the one that cracked the whip and said...
Johnny May Matthews put that yoke on my back a long time ago. It wasn't anything that I said, hey, I'm going to be the leader. It was a thing when she would call a meeting, I would always be there like 5 minutes or so earlier, and so she, I guess, recognized that quality, and she said, hey, I like that. You should be the...
Wasn't it, though, David Ruffin wanted it? David Ruffin and the Temptations.
Yes, he did.
He didn't get away with it, but Diana Ross did.
Yeah, well, she had Berry Gordy, and a much more different kind of sense, but we met...
Was there something going on there?
Well, I think there was a little... thing going on there,
He says with a smile. Deborah.
I'd like to know, what do you think about today's white artists crossing over?
Well, that's nothing new. you know, they have been crossing over all the way back during the 50s, as far as taking black music and really, you know, turning it into dollar values and getting more of the credit.
There was an article that I was reading that they're really making a go at it. You know, they're being successful at it.
Oh, they've been successful at it back during the 50s. You know, you know, Patti Page was doing Tweedledee. That was out by Laverne Baker first.
But one of the differences now is that Pat Boone didn't make the R&B stations, the black radio stations, and now George Michael does. So it's a big difference.
And what about Michael Jackson and Diana Ross looking so white?
Ah.
I mean, that's true.
Is
I mean,
is there that tendency to want to
want to go?
I think that's in the gray area of all of us, how we want to perceive ourselves. I think that's Michael's id. His id wants to go that way because you can look around, there's a lot of blacks that just want to look black. Michael, you know, I guess like they were saying, how you end up depends on how you start off, and something evidently was lost in him growing up. So now he's experimenting, and to be so young, he's very eccentric.
Yeah, Mary.
I gotta say something. Okay, coming from Detroit, and I must say this. Now you hear about the poverty and everything else. People in Detroit, and I must say, you got an area, and all across the country, especially back east, it was a time when we were coming up as kids. Black folks loved clothes, and they knew how to dress. Now let's face it, we are not from Africa. Our ancestors, some of them are from Africa, but we basically, well, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We know how to dress. Now, as far as the white image, I don't understand that, because as far as wearing silks and mohairs, come on, Otis, black folks love clothes.
You're hot.
And they will be high fashion ever. Now, we were kids growing up, and we had to learn how to fix wigs. I mean, just like all kids, we get the fashion magazines, like our older comrades. Then the guys were, you know, let's face it, a lot of them were pimps, and now they got, you know, better jobs. But I mean, then if you were, no, it's true, it's true.
No, but I just want to.
It's true, but I mean, they always, you know, the what you call the all-American look is basically folks that love to dress.
We should go away for a commercial here, but Otis, real quick, if you.
Well, I just wanted to put in what she was talking about as far as dressing. Detroit, when we started traveling, so we would come back into Detroit and we would have the latest fashion and all that stuff. Detroit would wait to see what the Motown artists would come into Detroit to see what the fashion was. So so
not only were you setting the music trends, you were setting the fashion trends as well.
Yeah,
we'll be
absolutely.
back.
Yvette.
April 4th, 1968, where were you and how did it affect you?
April, I know where we were. We were in West Virginia, and that was when Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. Ah, you didn't think I knew that.
How did it affect you?
Oh, hey, we couldn't hardly perform, you know, because when we heard the news, just as we were getting ready to go on, we almost wanted to cancel, and because the whole mood of the auditorium was just down. And we didn't know if it was going to be a race ride or what, because it was just one of those things that you didn't know what to expect. And then I took myself back in time, because the same hotel that he was assassinated in, we used to stay there. So, I mean, it was like a close kind of bond, even though we were apart. But
Betty.
Yeah.
My question to you, Otis, at what point in your life did you decide to write this book, and what inspired you to do so?
We were appearing 2.5 years ago in New York City, the Tops and the Temps at the Gershwin Theater, and a young lady by the name of Marilyn Ducksworth came backstage and asked if I was interested, because she felt as though we would make very good reading. And I said yes. So it was something that I didn't go around soliciting for, but it just happened. So I guess it was God's will saying, hey, you got a story to tell, young man. Let the people know how and why you haven't been able to survive.
And the book does tell a portion of the Motown story and the full story of the Temptations.
That's it.
This lady was so excited to be holding this book. I'm gonna give it to you. Would you like to have a copy of it?
Yeah.
All right.
Outside.
Mary Wells and Otis Williams, thank you for being with us. Joel Selvin from the San Francisco Chronicle, you too. Ann and I'll be back after this. Stay tuned.